Thank you for tuning in to People Spotlight. Hello, my name is Zachary Mitchell, and I am here today with Lucas Ridenour. How are you doing, Ridenour?
I'm doing good. How are you, Zach?
I'm doing pretty good. So today we're going to be talking about your deployment, it happened over a year ago, but this gave you more time to adjust back to life. So what was it like when you first found out that you're deploying, and what was that process like before you got over to the Middle East?
So, like, my idea when I was still here before I was about to leave.
Yeah, just like how did that process, like, tell us where you're from, I mean, what unit you're part of, and, like, just don't go into detail about it, but just tell us how the process went before you shipped out to overseas.
Man, okay, well, shoot, that was a hot minute ago. No, I was in a aviation supply unit. So, I mean, we didn't do the whole cool guy stuff like in the movies, but they told us about a year in advance, hey, we're deploying. And me being the young kid I was, I watched a lot of war movies. I'm like, oh boy, Black Hawk Down, cool stuff like that. Okay, let's go. So it was about a year, and then the year of deployment came up. I mean, I didn't really do much. Beginning, I was just kind of helping my, I guess, NCOs or like the higher ups get their stuff done, get stuff accounted for, so on and so forth, all that good stuff. It wasn't even until a good 4 months before deployment I didn't even tell my family because I was like, oh, well, surprise, here we go.
But backing on the family, what made you just keep that a secret from your family until like 4 months before? Like, why didn't you tell them right away?
I don't know. I feel like if I told them right away, it'd just be a whole, 6 months of complaining and whining and, oh my gosh, my little son's going away.
That's how my mom would do it too. But did your unit, like, before you even got to an actual active military base, did you guys do anything even at your home station or something just to prepare for this before you went out to Texas?
So the National Guard does a 2 weeks in the summer training. It's an annual training, whatever.
Of course.
We did it actually 3 weeks to get a little more in depth. We did like 50 cals, MK12s, all that good stuff. LMGs, all people call them LMGs. 240s, all that good stuff. We did a lot of training, a minimum of like 2 hours of sleep a night. So I mean, we always got used to that. Until we actually got to Texas for our demob, it was just a lot of making sure we had stuff ready to go. We got a lot of stuff on the trains, equipment, all that good stuff.
I mean, how long did it take you guys? Like, did you have to spend overtime to get stuff ready?
Oh, yeah. So while most of the unit was at AT, the few of us that was selected, we were working from 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. every day, getting stuff ready and, up to go and just on the way to get everything set up.
So was it like high stress? Like, was everybody like just trying to hurry everybody up and everybody yelling and stuff? Or was it?
You always get them people that's like freaking out because like, oh no, we don't have stuff ready. But I mean, there's a lot of us who are lower enlisted, like myself. I mean, we were just, there listening to orders, taking orders, and doing what we were told to do. So, I mean, that's kind of all you can really do as a specialist or anything below an E5, really.
Yeah, I mean, I even know how that feels, but so where'd you end up going after you got through the National Guard requirements? Where did you go right before you shipped out?
Like when we went to Texas?
Yes, yep.
All right, so I went to Texas for about 3 months to get, one, you get used to the heat in the summer in our uniforms, and two, just to get to that whole, this is deployment, because Texas is terrible in the summer. Don't know if you've ever been there in full uniform, but it is absolutely terrible. And you can't do anything fun, no civilians, it's all military this, military that, nothing else.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, how many units did you see that was going on the same deployment as you?
So the whole unit I was in, which is about 250 people, and we had, about 3 other units coming from different states. So like Illinois, Nebraska, some Missouri. We had some from Oklahoma, a couple from Texas. I mean, it was just basically who we needed at the time because no one wants to go on deployment. It's terrible.
Well, I mean, maybe some people do, but I mean, I understand. I mean, I know how this works. It's like on a rotation stuff, but
Right.
and I mean, again, Texas holds one of the bigger places out there in the States, but how did that whole process work, and just how does it all work before you ship out? What do you guys do to get ready?
Well, maybe a good unit would get you your supply before you went to Texas, but
Oh yeah,
a lot of us was, I mean, really, I mean, it was kind of like basic again. So you wake up early, you go do PT, shower, shave, all that good stuff, and then you just do your actual MOS. And being the guard, you don't do just your MOS, you do other MOSs. Like,
Okay.
I was supply, and I was learning how to drive trucks, how to use stuff, helicopters, first aid, I was doing all that good stuff.
Well, didn't you tell me before too that you had to learn a new MOS too
Yeah.
before?
I had to learn a second MOS. I also had to, eventually, it was me and two other guys, we actually had to do I guess it'd be Arabic, the language. We had to teach a class on how to say a few words or sentences, just because that's the main language used over there.
Like, what kind of words did you have to teach? Or learn?
Well, one was, like hello, in their language, like in Allah, and like brother, and some other words I'm not going to say because,
Well,
it is what it is.
do you think you can remember how you can say hello and stuff, or has it been a long time?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I figure.
I think I taught a class once, and it was like a good 10 and 20 minutes, and I was like, well, there you go. That's all. That's all I know. And it literally was just me, two other guys on Google trying to pronounce the words.
No, I understand. That's a little bit different than what we're even here in the States used to. And but how long were you there in Texas?
So a total of 3 months. We left about towards the end of the third, so it was a full 3 months, and then we had about a week or two until we actually left.
Oh, so I mean that's not as long. I mean, probably even somewhat people expect, but I mean I can see that them getting ready for you and your deployment and stuff. Was it? I'm guessing it was really really hot though.
Oh, it was hot. It was super hot. I mean, I'm from Missouri, so I'm used to high cold temperatures. But when you're in Texas and it's 6 a.m. and you're sweating when you walk out the door, you're like, well, this sucks.
No, I I figured that out the most with Texas. I haven't been down there any station or anything. But
Chow Hall was like a good mile away, so you're walking 12 miles a day just to go from your barracks to the Chow Hall just to eat.
oh yeah, so pretty much in Texas they just make sure you know how to do your job and stuff and get reacquainted with it.
Yeah, just get back into the whole military mindset.
So why did you have to learn a second MOS for this deployment?
My original MOS was 92 Golf, which is a cook. Which, I mean, it's pretty cool. Like when you first go in, you're like, okay, I can make food. I enjoy food. I love food. But they weren't taking cooks. So I talked to my commander, like, hey, like whatever you need, I'll go to school so I can go into deployment. And he's like, all right. So took a good month and a half, and they said, well, we got a school for you. I was like, cool. So I went, did a supply school. It's a good month, and then, I mean, it's a good little pay, good old paycheck, and then
I'm saying, yeah,
good.
you're learning extra stuff in the military too, which will probably help you out later in your career with them. So,
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you have more than one MOS, you're already kind of above a lot of your peers just because you know more jobs.
oh yeah, easily. So, what was traveling like? What was all that like going over?
So it was I want to say it was like an 18-hour flight. So from Texas, we went to Germany to land, get fuel. So we were in Germany for about an hour and a half. We got there at 2 a.m. So, I mean, everyone's tired, everyone's cranky. But I was like, hey, I'm in Germany. I'm going to get a drink, food, whatever,
Of course.
then did that for 2 hours, and then we flew again, and we landed in Kuwait. In Kuwait, we got there, I want to say it was 2 or 3 p.m., and they said, make sure you put on your sunglasses. As soon as you get off the plane, you get blinded. It's just so bright. It's hot. It's literally like you walk into an oven as soon as the doors open.
So I don't know if you remember, but how hot was it when you first got off that plane? Or
I got there in August, so I want to say it was about 100 and probably 20s or 30s.
I mean, I'm saying, how did you feel when you first stepped out in the open? With
I
that?
was like, I was like, this is some BS. This sucks.
I mean, I'm sure if when people are listening to this, I mean, how long does it take for your body to get adjusted to it? Or?
I would honestly, I think it kind of depends because if you're a mechanic, you're out there every day from dusk till dawn. I mean, you're out in the heat every day. Me, because I stayed in Kuwait for about a month before I went to Iraq, I didn't really have a job. They just kind of told me to go here and there. I said, okay. And I mean, I was, first like 2 or 3 days, I was just in my barracks every day trying to get used to the sleep schedule.
Yeah.
But I think it probably took me about a month and a half, 2 months to get used to like everything, the heat and being able to walk here and there. Because I mean, we didn't really have vehicles. We just kind of walked everywhere.
I'm saying, how far did you usually walk? Like average, not like the longest or shortest.
We actually got a really lucky barracks. We got the one like right beside the chow hall and the gym. So I had to walk maybe a total like 100 feet
So
to go anywhere nice.
That's not bad. So how were the living quarters like, or how was?
It's probably like a college dorm. It was, so there was there was like 5 beds. I mean, bunk beds apparently, in these like shacks basically. You're in basically big old metal buildings with 5 other dudes. So I mean, take that as you will, but it's really not as bad as you think it would be. Mm-hmm. After like the first couple of days, you're like, whatever. It is what it is.
No, yeah. I'm saying, I mean, whoever was even just enlisted as a single, I know some people were enlisted, married, and stuff like that, but if you first get into basic, I mean, you know what barrack life is. Oh, yeah, everybody knows what that is. And so what was daily life like? I mean, once you got acquainted and
in Kuwait still.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, what was
so daily life? Well, I only have my phone. Yeah, I mean, you have to go and buy internet. You got to take this little puck with you everywhere you go because there's no internet over there.
Of course.
So you pocket the fool already. It's like back in early 2000s where you had a CD player and another headphones in one pocket. So you're walking around with the internet, phone, maybe a hat. I mean, you could wear civilians in Kuwait, and like I would go to the PX. I'd spend a little money here and there, then go back to the barracks, chill out, maybe go get some Subway or something. It's Kuwait. There's nothing going on there.
So I'm even going to ask you this in your other country, but in Kuwait, can you just go out in the city and just after duty days and just go shop and stuff?
Sometimes I think it takes a while. I went to Kuwait City for a few hours, and that was towards the end. That wasn't at the beginning. A lot of people did go to Kuwait City, and I mean they spent all their money.
Like, what do you mean that you can go out once in a while, though? What do you...
So, starting out, they don't want you to go out because, I mean, it's quote-unquote hostile country. So, I mean, they don't want you to be all...
Yeah, I understand that, but...
When I went out, I had to wear, like, all civilian. So, there's nothing military-wise on me. I wore a hat, got my haircut. I mean, of course, they probably know because we're all clean-shaven and everything.
But I'm saying they probably even noticed, too, because there's not, like, a lot of... us over in Kuwait, maybe just military personnel,
right? A lot
Americans.
of DOD guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, like Kuwait itself is really, really rich country because of all the oil. But when you actually get into the cities and stuff, you're like, oh.
What do you mean by that? Like, what do you see?
So, I was really surprised how dirty it was. So, I was going to like the giant mall they have. And just from the base to there was like a good hour drive. And you can see a giant, what is the word for? Like a giant dumpster. And there would be trash all around that dumpster. There would not be a single piece of trash in the dumpster.
Really?
They just don't care. They just throw it out. You see nice cars on the side of the road blown up, destroyed, just because if you had the money, You'll wreck the car and they're like, oh, I'll just call someone to come pick me up. So you see
yeah.
nice vehicles on the side of the roads. I mean, it's insane.
I mean, were you ever scared when you first got there, though?
Yeah, they drive like crazy, man.
I meant just anything besides driving crazy. I mean, did you ever get scared when you first arrived in Kuwait?
When I first arrived, yeah. I mean, it's just a really big jump from American life. So America, you have phone service everywhere. You have this, you have that. You want to go get McDonald's, you can. You want to go get a Dr. Pepper from Walmart, you can. But there, you might get a Dr. Pepper once every 2 or 3 weeks. And it's just, you start to really appreciate things you have back home when you're over there because you're like, man, like this kind of sucks.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, even if people aren't in the military, I'm sure they heard somewhat other way of life. But I mean, it doesn't sound too bad. I mean, but it depends on what your MOS is and what your job do, because infantry does other stuff than what
supply and stuff.
Yeah, like you do, or engineers.
Well, I mean, Kuwait's not a deployment. I mean, you hear that all the time, Kuwait is not a deployment. I mean, it's really not. Like, I was in Kuwait, I was like, man, the scariest thing I got to do is have a sunburn.
Well, what do you mean it's not deployment, though?
So, when people say deployment, they think of, the really cool extra patch they have, or they go and see stuff, or they go and do stuff that's like you want to do in just a regular base. So, Kuwait, when I went there, I was like, okay, this is cool. It's just so colonized and so, I guess, quote unquote, peaceful.
Yeah.
It's not a deployment. It's more like a summer vacation.
So it's kind of like going to Germany or probably South Korea.
It's a really low end summer vacation.
I mean, they pay you to go to that country.
That is true. They do pay you, yes.
So,
but it's also like, man, this still kind of sucks. It sucks.
Well, it's the geography of that country, yeah. If not, it'd probably be just like us and have muggy days.
Right.
Or Nevada, or like Las Vegas, but
It wasn't bad though. I was in that part of Kuwait for about a month, and then I went to an Air Force base. And let me tell you, man, if you were to join any branch of the military, it'd be Air Force.
Why is that?
I went to the base and they had a pool.
Really?
They had a swimming pool on the base.
I mean,
and a movie theater with AC. With AC.
But, I mean, if people look up this too, I mean, they're required higher scores than Army and Marines and stuff like that. Even Navy requires a higher score, but...
Well, yes,
but you're working on more tactical stuff in the Navy or in the Air Force too. But, yeah, no. I mean, for even people listening, it's like... Even Army guys going to Air Force bases, vice versa, stuff like that. It happens.
I thought I was living the high life. So in Kuwait, closest bathroom, like the shower and everything, is like a good half mile.
Really?
So that sucks. You're on an Air Force base. They have bathrooms and showers in their rooms.
Oh my god! Oh, I didn't know that.
I was like, what is this? My buddy's like, yeah, I'm living the good life on deployment. Like, dude, you've been on an Air Force base for 9 months. Like, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah. I mean. Some people have leeway. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the base has free internet, so you have free internet.
How good is it?
It's good enough to play Call of Duty.
Okay, that good.
I'm like, that's better than my house sometimes Wi-Fi here. Like, what is this?
Well, yeah, America has pretty good Wi-Fi. But what happened after you? Why were you on an Air Force base?
That's where I went to fly from there to Iraq. So I was on Air Force base for about another month. So that's 2 months in Kuwait already.
So what? Saying, how do they decide that? Why did you have to go to Iraq, or how does that work?
So in Texas, they had certain people they were in Iraq, Kuwait, etc. And I was like, hey, I want to go to Iraq. They're like, why? I'm like, why not? That's the deployment life, right? Go to Iraq, Afghanistan, all that. Okay. Like, okay. And low key, I was kind of mad though, because when the time I could have been doing something that could make my career progress, such as BLC, I was just living in the barracks.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could have sent me to BLC for 3 weeks, get it done, and I'll be done with BLC. But, I don't make the rules. I was just a specialist.
Oh, yeah. But, it gives you more experience. You see different countries and stuff. Then
yeah.
That's what's cool about going to Iraq out of nowhere. But, or not out of nowhere, they just had plans or something. But what did you do over there versus Kuwait? What was different between those two?
Kuwait was, I was just chilling. I was living in the quote unquote dorms. You know, I was sleeping until like noon. Honestly, in Kuwait, my first month, like, because I didn't really have a job, I legit almost forgot to shave.
Oh, really?
Like, I woke up one day, I was like, oh man, I got a full like
Oh, no.
pedo stash going on. So I shaved that, and then a few days later, like, hey, get your stuff. We're going to the Air Force Base. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Shaved and all that good stuff. Went there. They left me, and they're like, well, we'll bring your M4, your ammo, and your body armor in like a week or two. Okay. It took a month to get from a whole 50, maybe a good 25, 50 miles. They brought me my stuff, and like, okay, well, your plane leaves tomorrow at 3 a.m. Okay.
Really?
So I didn't sleep at all because that was just terrible. And then
Yeah.
got there at 3. We didn't even fly out till 7. You know, hurry up and wait. You know, that's how the Army is.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good 2-hour flight. Fell asleep on the plane. Landed in Iraq. My platoon sergeant was waiting for me, and then I just went from there. First couple of days, I stayed in basically a metal building with an officer, which is kind of cool. He was captain. I was just an E4, so I thought it was kind of weird, but I was like, hey, that's.
I mean,
kind of cool.
you get used to that big time. I mean, and how long did you end up staying in Iraq?
Like all together?
Yeah, how long?
I was there about 7 months.
That's a lot longer than
It was nice. I mean, the part I was at for the bigger portion was nice. I was, I'd get up at 5, go to work until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Next shift come in, I would go shower, eat, work out, whatever. Go home, watch Netflix on the computer, go to bed.
There you go. I mean, that sounds like a normal day to me as a work day, and that doesn't sound too bad. I mean,
it really was. I mean, I was making extra. I'd say maybe $300 because of quote unquote hazard duty pay, but it didn't really feel like that until we got like mortared a couple times. I'm like, oh, that's why it's hazard pay. And getting mortared in.
How often did that happen?
I'd say maybe once every 2 weeks.
I mean, how high level was that? Like, of you?
At first, I was freaking out. I was like, "What is going on?" Like, well, the first time it happened, I was in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I was like,
that
"Well,
works.
this is not the day to do this." And I was like, "If I go, I go. I'm gonna finish this." So I finished it. It wasn't even close. It was like a good 2 or 3 miles away. I was like, "Okay, that's cool. Whatever."
Yeah, that's still pretty far.
Yeah.
And sort of a way, yeah. I know I asked this on the Kuwait, but how was the were you able to go out in the city in Iraq and stuff? Or
No.
explain this one.
So you ever see those movies where they're in Iraq and all the sketchiness and
Oh yeah.
that's exactly what it is. There's giant T-walls all around the whole base. I mean, you go to a certain part of the base, you got to be on weapon ready, yellow, have the ammo in, still unsafe.
Oh yeah, of course.
But you're like, man, if stuff pops up, you got to go with there with your body armor on, your M4 ready,
So shit hits the ceiling. I mean, you're all ready to go, and just
you're ready to
rack it up. I mean,
I think one of the coolest things was, so I was there for a good 2 months before my platoon sergeant and I actually traveled through Iraq. So we went to 5 or 6 different bases. We did land in Baghdad for a little bit, and that was just shit. I was like, wow, those movies, they're oh,
yeah,
legit thing.
Well, yeah,
It happens
that.
every 3 or 4 hours of the day too. It's annoying.
I think it's a religious thing too.
It is. I mean, they pray or something to the somewhere. I don't know.
I mean, did people ever bug you when you were over there for those 2 countries or not?
Really, the only thing that really bugged me. So the part of Iraq I was at, I mean, a lot of the locals work in they cook, they run the PX, all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I was walking with a sergeant and another specialist one day. We were just chilling, coming from chow, and this guy was running, sprinting towards us.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what's going on. So I mean, you walk everywhere with your weapon. So I had my weapon kind of hunched up. I was like, I'm not sure what this guy's doing. He dead sprinted towards us, stopped, and he's like, my brother. I was like, what? And I guess he just wanted shake my hand or something, but it was weird. He's like, yeah, come and buy my stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what he was trying to do.
I mean, that's other countries.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're just like, come buy our stuff. It's not good, but you want to buy it.
I'm saying I've been on cruises and stuff to Haiti and Bahamas and whatnot, and that's what they always do. They'll
Yeah, I
throw
mean, they
themselves out
push
there
you into the whole, come and buy this, come and buy this.
until you buy something. Oh, I know that feeling.
I like, okay, I'll buy this. And it was like a $2 like drink. They're like, no, you need to buy more. I'm like, no.
Oh, they're gonna make you buy that that
This
big
guy-
expensive
this
luxury
guy bought a
person.
PS4. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Why would you do that? Yeah.
Well, he was bored, man. Like, I
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I don't
bought an
blame him there.
Xbox. I bought an Xbox at the PX,
Okay.
and I used it until I left, and then I sold it and got more money back. But I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, I'm bored, you know. Like, what else am I supposed to do?
Oh yeah, I understand that. I mean, you just do your job and
Yeah, you do
You're-
your
I mean,
job,
you're-
go to the gym, shower, eat, all that stuff. Like, you have another like 6 hours of not doing anything.
yeah.
And believe it or not, Netflix gets kind of boring after a while.
Oh, I can
Like,
imagine.
Man, I've seen all these movies like 10 times before I even came over here.
Well, I mean, then you're on deployment for 9 months and stuff. And when you got done with all that, what happened? What happened when you started to leave the Middle East? Where did you guys
it
go?
was absolutely chaotic. There was just
What do you
so
mean?
much like miscommunication. It was terrible. It was just here, there, over here. All these guys here. Is all this stuff clean? Is this where it needs to be? Make sure you get stuff sent home. It was terrible.
But did you like happen to just go around these other countries though when you stopped on your route to the Middle East though?
We just stopped in Germany, and that was just to get to refuel.
Is it?
Yeah. Which I mean, we were there for an hour or two, so I kind of gotta buy some stuff, some magnets and stuff for the family back home.
But is that the only country you went to over in Europe, or is
we went to Germany, and then on the way back, we actually went to Ireland.
did you guys actually get to go around Ireland or not?
A little bit. We were there for like a good 3 or 4 hours. So I mean, they said you're allowed to have 2 alcoholic beverages,
How were those?
and I would tell you those lines for that were so long.
Oh, I can imagine.
I had to wait
You
a
know,
good 55 minutes to get 2 beers. But let me tell you what, after a whole year not having a single drink of alcohol, you drink those 2 beers, you're like, oh.
How were those Ireland beers though?
Oh, they were delicious. I don't even know what it was, but it tasted super good.
Was it?
Yeah, I was like, they need this stuff back home.
I always wanted to try one. I always heard good things about them,
Oh,
but
it's
it's just
so good.
I just never gotten around to
Like,
it.
you had a Blue Moon, the Belgian white beer or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good, but you get a drink that's actually from like the countries, you're like, oh my gosh, this tastes amazing.
So what did you guys do when you get back? You went back to Texas, didn't you?
Yep. So we oh my gosh, that was terrible. We went to Texas. If you were lucky, you gotta leave early and get your stuff done in Texas and go home sooner. I didn't get home for another almost a good 3 weeks to a month because I had to out process, do physicals, do the mental stuff, make sure I wasn't crazy, check my body, make sure I didn't have any bodily harm. What was my 10% disability from the smoke pits, man? Come on.
Do they do some kind of like biohazard stuff or whatever? Or
No.
Chemical test or?
It was before the corona, so they went to...
No, I meant like radiation test or something like that.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, unless that was some of the stuff they tested on me. I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird, but...
Because, obviously that'd be a big issue.
Yeah.
Because they do release something. Like, I know they release gas once in a while and stuff like that, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it was near you.
Yeah, there was some weird stuff going on.
I
was like, I'm not sure what this doctor's doing, but he's kind of sketching me out.
I don't know. That's maybe every doctor I know.
Doctor put on a glove pretty hard, the whole with the glove. I was like, man, I'm not sure what that's for, but it better not be for me. He's like, you better bend over. I was like, oh, okay.
That's a good welcome back.
Yeah, that's a great welcome back, sure.
So what did you guys do when you got back to your unit home, back in Missouri?
So our first quote-unquote drill date, we just had a yellow ribbon. It's kind of where you come back. You're like, hey, congratulations. You came back in one piece. You're not dead. Oh, okay, thanks. And they gave you the whole veteran suicide hotline. They gave you the hotlines. You should try to interrogate or integrate back into society and like you get a job or go to school. I'm like, I got you. So here I am in school 2 years later.
Yeah. And you're with this program too, but
I'm like, man, this is dumb. I want to go back. Send me back.
yeah, I remember seeing you for the first time when you came back that May, or it was like a week or two after you came back, and you came into our
Showed
school.
up. I was like, yo, what's up?
I didn't know who you were,
This is
but
my place now.
someone else did. I was like, oh, I didn't know you're so-and-so's brother and stuff like that.
And I was like, yo, what's up, guys? Honestly, though, like, I was just really, like, I was like, man, do I even want to join the program?
But was deployment worth it? After,
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, I honestly applied to stay another 9 months, like a whole 18 months.
Really?
Yeah, like, because when the next unit needed people, until about 2 weeks before they showed up, and they're like, oh, well, we have over 600 extra. I was like, well, shit.
Oh, crap, yeah. That would have been pretty cool if you did another tour or something like that.
Oh, yeah, 18 months? Dude, I'll be making bank.
Oh, gosh, you would easily win. And not taxable either, so.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you again. I know this is a pain in the butt. We tried to do this podcast a few times. I mean, I'm glad you had the energy today. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people love to hear this, no matter.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because I'm sure it worries some people, but after hearing this is a regular MOS too. This is not like infantry or something.
No, this is full on the whole quote unquote Pogue MOS. You're just on the post.
Quote unquote. I meant everybody has to have a job, and everybody's got to fill those positions, and
you can't fly without supply, man.
True. Oh gosh, yeah. You definitely can't. They double
supplying cooks, you don't want to make mad because one gives you food, the other gives you good stuff. Depends on you.
I'm lucky I didn't give anybody mad yet. But I want to thank you again for sharing your experience.
Oh yeah, anytime, man.
And this has been an episode of People Spotlight.